Hey guys, Joe Phelan located here out on the Skeena River in Prince Rupert, British Columbia, and today I'm doing a student inquiry video. As a student of martial arts, I'm inquiring into the principles of brush, grab, strike, or what is sometimes also known as block, check, and counter. My first question has to do with the brushing or passing hand. I've noticed some practitioners in this drill maintain contact with the brushing hand until the grabbing or checking hand slides into position. In this way, contact with the opponent's energy is preserved. I think this practice is good and definitely has its place, but I felt uneasy about this within edged weapon disciplines. Should this method still be habituated, knowing that edged weapons may come into play? Here is an example of the brush grab strike, which illustrates my concern. The alternative I've seen appears to be where the blocking and checking hand create a tight circle and follow in succession one after the other. Note that the first hand clears before the second hand engages. With this second method in mind, I've also wondered if the ultimate goal is for the bladed hand to arrive at the same time as the block or check and follow through with its cut. This makes sense to me with gunting techniques, as your arms scissor in the opponent's limb, but I'm not sure if it also applies to the block check counter drill. And finally, I'm struggling with what seems to be 4 possible iterations in the drill. These iterations are as follows. Lead hand brushes at the wrist or forearm, and the guard hand checks around the elbow. The guard hand checks at the wrist or forearm, and then the lead hand brushes around the elbow. Note that the hands move up the arm in the first 2 patterns. In the next 2 patterns, the lead hand brushes at the elbow, and then the guard hand checks at the wrist or forearm. And finally, guard hand checks at the elbow, and the lead hand brushes around the wrist or the forearm. I've been wanting to know if all of these touch patterns as they move up and down the arm are valid and commonly practiced within this drill. And do any of these change, or is there anything to keep in mind when one hand is bladed? Ultimately, I'm concerned about my bladed hand being a cut risk to myself in precision movements. In high-stress environments with an adrenaline or cortisol dump, while exhausted, or while managing my own state of shock through blunt force or edged weapon injuries, I'll lose the capacity for fine motor skills and have gross motor skills to depend on. Does this change anything in the orientation of the bladed hand as it relates to the helping hand in this drill? Should they be kept further apart in both timing and placement on the limb? Or is the bladed hand meant to work in very close proximity, and skill alone is my protective factor? Thanks for watching, everyone.